Well, today, big news in that case. Megan Boswell, the teen mom of baby Evelyn, will not be facing the death penalty in her upcoming trial. That announcement coming today from prosecutors. It was up there. People were wondering, is this going to be another trial like that one down in Florida that I covered years ago? That was a death penalty case for the death of Kaylee Marie Anthony. And we know how that one turned out. We looked at this one, and now prosecutors here in Tennessee will not be seeking the death penalty. For those of you not familiar with the story, here's some more about baby Evelyn.
Evelyn. Hi.
15-month-old baby Evelyn Boswell, a beautiful blue-eyed toddler from Tennessee, being raised by her teen mom Megan, goes missing with an Amber Alert issued on February 19th, 2020.
We remain committed and continue to do everything possible to find out what happened to Evelyn. And as always, as soon as relevant information and accurate information, I want to really reiterate that. As it comes to us, we will get that out as soon as possible, okay? Anyone with relevant information concerning Evelyn's whereabouts are asked to call 1-800-TBI-FIND.
But that Amber Alert was not issued on the day she went missing. Baby Evelyn actually disappeared in late 2019. And her mom said she didn't report her missing because she knew the person who had her and did not want them to take off with her.
I've told TBI where to find her in Mendota. My mom took her to a campground and a silver camper, and if they don't go tonight, I'm gonna go find her myself. Just bring her back. I just want her back, that's all I want. I've been so long without her, and I know a lot of people are like, oh, why didn't you report it missing earlier? Because my mom threatened me, and I just want her back. That's all I can think about is how much I just want her back.
But investigators were not buying Megan Boswell's stories.
Aware that we've received a number of conflicting, inaccurate statements from the mother, Megan Boswell, Evelyn's mother.
What happens next is a strange string of events. First, Evelyn's grandmother, Angela, is arrested with her boyfriend in North Carolina for possession of a stolen vehicle, which was part of the Amber Alert. Then Evelyn's mom is arrested in Tennessee for making false statements.
We determined that some of the statements Megan Boswell provided to us were false. Many of the false statements that Megan made delayed our investigations and also impeded our investigations on trying to find Evelyn. As a result, she has been charged with false reporting.
Got any questions about that? Ms. Boswell, got any questions about that?
Then big breaking news. 2 weeks after Evelyn was reported missing, a toddler's remains are found.
This evening, we received the information that led TBI agents and Sullivan County detectives to a property belonging to a family member of Evelyn's mother in the 500 block of Muddy Creek Road in Blumpville. During the search, investigators discovered human remains believed to be those of a 15-month-old girl. The remains will be sent for an autopsy and a positive identification.
So now the question is, what happened to baby Evelyn and who is responsible?
And of course, prosecutors say it was baby Evelyn's mother, but we'll see what happens at the trial. There was a big hearing today. I want to bring in Court TV anchor Michael Ayala. Michael, what happened at today's hearing?
Well, Vinny, there were some big decisions to be made by the prosecution because under Tennessee law for the crimes of murder or felony murder, which she is charged with here, the prosecutor has three options for sentencing. As life without parole, life with parole, or death. Now, in order to seek life without parole or the death penalty, the prosecutor has to prove one of many aggravating factors. I think the statute lists things like the cruelty involved in the crime or if more than one person was put in danger. I think there are about 15 in all. In this case, the prosecutor focused on one that applies if the victim is under 12 years of age and the defendant is over 18 years of age, which clearly applies here. Now, at a previous hearing, Prosecutor Barry Stauber said that he would take a look at the facts in this case, he would take a look at the law, and he would speak with the family, baby Evelyn's father and her grandfather, before he made his decision. Here's how things unfolded today at the hearing.
Judge, before we bring up anything in in the case. Miss Boswell has, she and I have talked, and she has something that she would like to address the court about. And I've talked to her about that and advised her to be open and honest with the court on this issue, but not to discuss any of the facts or evidence in the case.
All right, Ms. Boswell, raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm testimony about to give the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, ma'am?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, go ahead and tell me whatever you think you need to tell me.
Mr. Sproles and I have resolved any issues I had with his representation, Your Honor.
All right, so you're good to go forward?
Yes, sir.
All right. That being out of the way, I think one of the main objectives of today's hearing was to find out if the state was prepared to file notice to seek enhanced punishment. General?
Yes, Your Honor. We have filed a notice, and we have provided that to Mr. Sproles, and we have filed a notice to seek a sentence of imprisonment for life without the possibility of parole. And the aggravating factor is 39-13204I1. The murder was committed against a person less than 12 years of age, and the defendant was 18 years of age or older.
All right. I don't think that notice triggers me having to appoint co-counsel.
That's correct.
So I think that we're good to move forward. Where are we in the discovery process?
Judge, we had announced at the last hearing that the state has provided us with the discovery responses, and it's considerable. We have been able to work through roughly about half of the information here, but we're still trudging through that. There's several audio video files that we're going to have to figure out a way so that Ms. Boswell can see those, but we're delivering regularly to her the documents.
Okay.
And Your Honor, I would say that we're probably going to be producing some more evidence here shortly, which will be a considerable amount. It's still part of the discovery process. So in addition to what Mr. Sproles has been provided, I anticipate he will be provided with some more evidence here shortly.
All right. Is there any...
And that's not a surprise, Judge. We kind of expected that.
I guess my question to you all is, do we need to go ahead and put this on trial track, or do we need another announcement date? Do you anticipate motions? Do I need to set a motions hearing date or a motions deadline? I kind of feel like Mr. Sproles probably needs to get all the discovery before he can decide what motions need to be filed, and that needs to be done before we just blindly set a trial date.
I agree with that, Judge. I think he needs to see everything before he can evaluate what or if any motions he files.
I agree with that too, Judge. And we had previously filed a couple of motions, and I think that they were probably premature. I think the state would probably agree with me on that. And we have no problem with the court holding those in abeyance until we get in a better position.
All right.
No objection, Your Honor, at all.
General, when do you anticipate having the rest of this information to Mr. Sproles?
Well, some of it will be relatively immediately, and some of it will. Okay, and some of it will require some forensic analysis. And Ms. Nelson, General Nelson, thinks it'll be at least 8 weeks, and I think it might be a little further than that out.
Why don't we set this for status on May the 14th?
That's fine with the state, Your Honor.
Mr. Sproles, is that a good date with you?
That'd be fine.
We'll set this for status May 14th at 9 a.m.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, Vinny, so a lot to chew on there. In addition to the enhanced punishment, they're due back in court, as you heard, on the 15th. We heard prosecutors say that they have a lot more evidence that needs to be turned over, in addition to what sounds like a lot of discovery that has already been turned over. We heard that there's video evidence, physical injuries. We heard mention of forensic evidence and testing yet to be done. And I know that during the investigation, there was some thought that maybe Megan's mom and her boyfriend might be involved in what happened here. But when they decided to charge Megan with the murder, investigators were clear. They felt all the evidence pointed to only one conclusion, that Megan was responsible for the death of baby Evelyn. Now, if she's convicted, there will then be a sentencing phase, and that same jury, with her evidence, the prosecutor will have to prove the aggravating factor beyond a reasonable doubt, and the defense will present evidence of mitigating factors, and then the jury will have to unanimously decide whether to impose that enhanced sentence of life without parole.
Fascinating, and the case is starting to move now. You can see things are happening, but due to COVID, you know, the exchange of information is tough. The forensic testing is tough. She said something at the beginning of this hearing, and to me, it's kind of a little bit out of left field because, you know, we're not in there every day with what's going on. What's going on between her and her attorney?
Yeah, you know, Vinny, that's a tough one. We did some digging, and I checked in with one of the local reporters who is on it day to day. And she had spoken to Megan's attorney, Brad Spoles, and he said that the two of them had some differences. And I think he told the reporter something to the effect that, and I'm paraphrasing here, that this is a serious case with serious issues, and there had been some disagreements between he and Megan, and that he really had left it up to her. I'm not even sure he knew what she was going to say at that point when she spoke to the judge. And as you saw, she ultimately decided to stick with him as her attorney.
This is interesting because she's so young. You wouldn't think someone so young would, okay, no, we're doing it this way. But apparently she's much more sophisticated than you might think a teenager would be in a situation like this. All right, this case is big news, right? We're covering it, but it's huge news locally because I know everyone was worried about that child. People were searching for that child. Are they going to stay in Sullivan County?
You know, Vinny, you heard mention of motions filed by the defense there. Well, one of those motions was for change of venue. The defense is asking to have the case moved to another county, citing, as you said, the extensive media coverage not only locally but nationally. This case has really received extensive local and national attention. In fact, the local stations in the area have entire sections on their websites devoted to the story. And one of them is called Justice for Baby Evelyn. And you can find reams of stories on this case there. Now, in the community, several mothers started a group focused on keeping baby Evelyn's memory alive. And last month, it would have been her second birthday. They had a ceremony and laid flowers and other memorials on her grave. So it's still at the front of a lot of people's minds locally. So it could be difficult to find an impartial jury in Sullivan County. And Vinny, there's even a law making its way through the Tennessee legislature called Evelyn's Law. Now, it would allow for charges against parents who don't report their children missing after 48 hours of not knowing where they are. Now, remember, in this case, Vinny, no one reported baby Evelyn missing for 2 months. And there's no law in Tennessee to hold parents or caretakers accountable for something like that.
Yeah, it was absolutely shocking because when we first heard the baby's missing, we're like, all right, when did she go missing? What, last year? What? Unbelievable. Yeah. All right, Michael Ayala, thank you for bringing us up to speed. Appreciate it.